Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Perspectives of Jerry. If you caught my last video, we took a hard look at the death of the heroic icon. That annoying trend where the hero has to be a cynical, broken mess just to be relatable. But today, I want to look at the other side of that coin. Because while we've been stripping the shining armor off of our heroes, we've been doing something even weirder to our villains. We've started giving them hearts of gold. We've started giving them relatable political manifestos and tragic childhoods. And frankly, I am so over that, it is not even funny. I miss the monsters. The truly evil ones. Because why the heck not? Now, before I get into why pure evil is actually a narrative necessity, do me a massive favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment if you'd like. Tell me who your favorite unapologetic bad guy is. This is going to help the algorithm push these videos to more people like you. I love reading all the comments. I'll answer as many as I can. So with that, let's talk about why the modern villain has become so, for the lack of better terminology, watered down. We live in the area of the misunderstood antagonist. You know that type. They want to blow up a hospital, but the script spends 20 minutes explaining why they were bullied in school. Or their planet ran out of water. Or they're just fighting against the system. The problem when you make a villain too relatable is it stops you in your tracks. You turn a high-stakes conflict into a therapy session. Writers today seem terrified of a character who is just bad. They think that pure evil is just one-dimensional or lazy. But I'm going to argue that trying to make every single villain a tragic victim, that's the lazy writing. Look at someone like Thanos from the MCU. This is a pretty big one. People love him because he's complex, right? But by the time we're watching him cry over his daughter on Vormir, the threat changes. He's no longer a cosmic nightmare. He's just a guy with a really bad plan and a lot of feelings. Compare that to the villains that we grew up with. We didn't need to know that Sauron had a rough childhood. We didn't need flashbacks of Palpatine failing his entrance exams. They were terrifying because they were forces of nature. Let's look at some more of the modern examples as a counter. Take the High Evolutionary from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That character was a breath of fresh air. Why is that? Well, because he was complete. He was a completely irredeemable scumbag. He wasn't trying to save the universe. He was a narcissist with a god complex who tortured animals because they weren't perfect enough. Really, that's bad. There was no I can fix him moment because he was so vile it made the hero's mission feel vital. Now, if we compare him to someone like Arthur Fleck in Joker, but don't get me wrong, great character study, really was, but he's not a villain in the traditional sense. He's a victim. The movie spends 2 hours making you feel sorry for him. When you spend time humanizing the darkness, you lose the monster. And stories of this nature need monsters. Think about Jack Horner in that last Puss in Boots movie. He is a character who literally has a magic meter of how much good or evil is in his soul. And he is 100% pure garbage. when asked about his tragic backstory, he basically said, "Yeah, I had loving parents. I had a great life. I'm just a jerk." That was hilarious. But it was also a meta commentary on how tired we are of villains with a point. That trope is so overdone now. I like a good villain. I mean, the best villains are the ones that actually say, he's got a point. But at the end of the day, these days, I want a bad guy who's a bad guy. The biggest issue I have with humanizing every villain is what it really does to the hero. I mean, the hero's already deconstructed. He's a mess. He doesn't want to be there, and the villain is a misunderstood victim who kind of has a point. And so, in this case, who am I rooting for? Really? I mean, a pure evil villain acts as a mirror. They represent a challenge to the hero's soul. So when the Joker in The Dark Knight, and I'm talking about Heath Ledger's version here, tells Batman that he is just one bad day away from being like him, that's a terrifying ideological battle. We don't need to know why the Joker is the way he is. In fact, him giving different stories about his scars makes him more effective. He's chaos he's chaos personified. That's what made the Joker an excellent villain. He was just messed up. It wasn't the system, it was the way he was born. So when you remove pure evil, that you lower that bar for the hero. If the villain is just a guy who's had a hard life, the hero isn't a savior. He's an enforcer of the status quo that failed the victim. But when the villain is a monster, someone like Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men or Frieza in the Dragon Ball Z saga, the hero has to rise to a level of greatness to stop him. Pure evil forces the hero to be truly heroic. We've reached the point where nuance has become a cage. We're so obsessed with being deep that we've forgotten how to be scary. We've traded the Boogeyman for a case study. And here's the truth. Some people, they're just bad. Some people choose the wrong path not because they were pushed, but because they like the view from that side. In storytelling, the villain is the engine. If the engine is constantly stalling because it's feeling conflicted, the story doesn't go anywhere. I want to see villains who revel in their villainy. I want to see villains who are so bad, they make my teeth grit. I want the satisfaction of seeing a true monster defeated. Not a misunderstood soul being sent to a rehab center. Bring back the villains who don't have a point. Bring back the villains who just want to watch the world burn. Because without true darkness, the light doesn't have any meaning. I want to thank you all for being with me on this Perspectives of Jerry. I know this has been an interesting trip between the heroes, the villains, the movie perceptions, all of that. So thank you for being with me. If you haven't seen those videos, please do go back and watch. My next video should be about here. My subscribe button should be about here. And please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. All of this helps. And I will be happy to see you in the next one. Have a good day, folks. Think about what you want and try to go get it.